That morning it was metal scraping, metal slow, sneaky, a noise that didn't belong. Not a bang, not a crash, just a deliberate creak. That's what yanked me out of sleep and dropped me barefoot into the hallway of my so-called peaceful little neighborhood. Now this is a place where nothing ever happens. At least that's what the real estate brochures say. Every lawn is perfect, the mailboxes all match, and folks wave just a bit too enthusiastically, then watch you disappear behind your door so they can peek through their blinds. I came here for quiet after years of noise. Thought I'd found it too. Until the day Linda decided my garage was her business. Linda. Everybody called her helpful. Everyone except me, that is. She was the HOA's unofficial warden, the kind who knew the bylaws by heart, and let me tell you, she enforced them like she had a badge and a gun. Always with a clipboard, sunglasses way too big, and a smile that could slice bread. Twice already she'd warned me about violations that didn't even exist. My trash can sat out for an hour too long. My truck made too much noise just by existing. So I kept my head down. I followed every rule, even the unwritten ones, praying she'd get bored and move on to someone else. But that morning, on my one precious weekday off, all I wanted was coffee and quiet. That's when I heard it, the noise. Maybe it was the wind, I thought. Maybe a neighbor. But the pounding in my chest said otherwise. And then her voice, calm like she owned the place. I just need to make sure this area is compliant. That's when I realized Linda was in my garage. The door was halfway up. She had a key. Everything about it felt wrong, so wrong it took me a second to actually react. I grabbed my phone and started recording, then walked out. There she was inside my garage, peering into cabinets, scribbling on her clipboard. She didn't even jump when I caught her. "Oh, good, you're home," she said. "This'll only take a minute." She told me the HOA had concerns about improper storage, possible fire hazards. She claimed some emergency provision gave her the right. My garage spotless. Tools, a fridge, my truck. Not even a whiff of a violation. I told her she was trespassing. She smiled and warned me that refusing an inspection could get me fined. That's when it clicked. I just walked out cool as a cucumber and hit the garage door button. The door began to close. Linda turned confused, asking what I was doing. Didn't answer her. Just let the door finish its crawl to the ground and locked the house door behind me. That's when the yelling started. My name over and over, threats about fines, lawsuits, how I was obstructing an HOA official. I kept my phone recording steady now because, here's the thing, I'm not just another homeowner. I called the sheriff's office, told the dispatcher exactly what was happening. No drama, just facts. There's a woman in my locked garage who refuses to leave. Please send someone. I'll wait outside. Out on the driveway, Linda's voice was growing louder behind that closed door. Neighbors' curtains fluttered. Phones came out. And for the first time since moving here, I smiled. Linda thought she was in control. She had no clue she'd just caged herself in with the wrong person. At first, she kept shouting about bylaws, emergencies, threatening me with all sorts of doom. Then she started pounding harder enough to make a scene. Neighbors started to really watch now, some of them openly filming. Across the street, old Mr. Gibson shook his head like he'd been waiting years for this. Linda, seeing the audience amped it up, claimed I was holding her hostage. Hostage. She screamed it louder and louder, accusing me of illegal detainment, saying I'd regret this. But I didn't react. I just thought about how deep she was digging. I watched her try every locked exit, shake the door handle, finally flop onto a folding chair, and put on a show, sobbing for the crowd. Sirens in the distance cut her act off quick. Now she's whisper yelling through the door, suddenly reasonable. Let's talk this out. No need to get the cops involved. She'd forget the whole thing if I just let her out. The switch was almost impressive. When the first sheriff's car turned the corner, the whole street came alive, neighbors on their lawns, phones out in the open. This wasn't HOA drama anymore. This was a full-on neighborhood event. The deputy was calm, professional. I told him everything, just the facts, not even mentioning the HOA at first. He nodded, went up to the door and knocked. "Ma'am, this is the sheriff's department. Are you inside?" And Linda exploded, screaming about unlawful imprisonment, abuse of power, demanding they arrest me. The deputy looked at me, eyebrow raised, then calmly asked her why she was in my garage. She said inspecting for compliance. Second deputy shows up just as those words leave her lips. The look between them said it all. They asked me, had I given permission? No. Was there an emergency? No. Was Linda law enforcement again? No. The deputy turned back. "Ma'am, you're going to need to explain why you entered this property without consent." Silence. And more silence. Finally, at the deputy's request, the door opened. Linda stepped out, sunglasses gone, clutching that clipboard like a life vest. She didn't look at me, didn't look at the neighbors. The deputy separated us, asked me if I wanted to press charges. I said I wanted the truth first. And that's where the twist hit. The deputy came back, voice loud enough for everyone to hear, and asked Linda if she'd ever been told not to set foot on my property. Her face drained of color. Turns out 6 months ago, before I moved in, the previous owner had formally complained about this exact behavior. The HOA had issued a written warning she was never ever to enter private property without explicit consent. She'd signed it. The deputy asked if she remembered that. She barely nodded. Then he asked why she was really in my garage. It wasn't about safety. She was hunting for violations to issue fines, using them for leverage control. She targeted new folks, quiet folks, people she thought wouldn't push back. She never expected someone like me. And what really rattled her was what happened next. The deputy asked what I did for a living. I told him. Linda's head snapped up. I said it just like that: law enforcement, not HOA. Different county, but same badge, same oath. The recognition in her eyes was instant. Not fear, just the realization that she'd messed with the wrong person at the wrong time. They didn't arrest her, but they cited her for trespassing. Documented everything, my footage, neighbors' video statements. And they made it crystal clear: one more step onto my property and there wouldn't be a warning next time. After the cops left, the neighbors didn't slink away. People I'd barely met came over to thank me. One lady told me Linda had fined her for flower pots. Another had been too scared to say anything when Linda wandered into her backyard. By the next HOA meeting, Linda had resigned loudly, dramatically, and not by choice. Turns out my story wasn't the first, just the last straw. Now my garage is still spotless. My trash can's always on time. And the neighborhood? Still quiet, but nobody's watching from behind the blinds anymore. And every time I hear a garage door open, I can't help but grin. Because some folks think authority means intimidation. But sometimes the best lesson is a locked door and a simple phone call. Funny thing, power only works when folks let you pretend you have it. That's a lesson I wish I'd learned sooner in life, but sometimes you need the drama to see the truth. Real authority comes from knowing your rights, standing your ground, and being willing to call the bluff. So what would you have done in my shoes? Was I right to lock her in and make the call? Or did I cross a line? Where should the line be between community rules and personal freedom? Drop your thoughts below, or tell me about a time you stood up to someone on a power trip. And hey, if you like this story, hit subscribe, ring that bell, and stick around for the next one, because trust me, justice is only getting started.